Ron, you've been nominated for chair for today. You accept that?
Yeah, I accept that.
Okay, so there was a motion by Dr. Schwant for Ron to be chair for the day. Do we get a second? That was Grant. Yeah. And I'll do roll call real quick since I've got everything in front of me, Ron, if that's okay.
Sounds great.
All right. Todd is absent. Chris?
Yay.
Grant?
Here.
Yay.
Yay.
Ron?
Here.
Yay. And Bruce?
Yay.
Jennifer? Jennifer, are you on?
I thought she was earlier.
She might be muted.
I'm looking at my screen and the only number I see is Grant. If she called in, I don't see her on there. Okay. So still have quorum. All right. The Board of Dental Technology meeting is convening at 9:07 a.m. on September 23, 2024. This meeting is being held in person and by MS Teams video conference and is being recorded. The recording will be posted to the internet for public viewing. I will now call roll. Todd Young, he's absent. Chris Chapman?
Yay.
Here. Grant Smith?
Present.
Ron Ferris?
Here.
Bruce Schwant?
Here.
Jennifer Ferguson? Board members, when you wish to speak, please state your last name for the record. Board members, when are asked not to use the chat feature during meetings. The Health Licensing Office asks that individuals attending through MS Teams keep your phones muted and cameras off during the entire meeting or until you are given an opportunity to comment during public and interested parties feedback period, if indicated on the agenda. Public members wishing to speak must first sign in on the roster sheet available or email Josh Page at josh.page@oha.oregon.gov and provide your first and last name. Everyone is asked to use appropriate language, manners, and protocols when conducting board business. This meeting is called to order. And I think I did things out of order. So Ron will be the chair for today since Todd is absent. And first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion?
I motion.
And that was Jennifer?
Yes. Sorry, I wasn't here for attendance.
Good morning. Glad you're here. It's 9:09. No, not a problem. Just making sure you're on there.
Yeah.
So a motion has been made for the approval of the agenda. Do we get a second?
I'll second.
Ron.
Ron.
Okay, Ron, you're the de facto chair, so you can't second. And was that Chris on there?
That's Grant. Grant.
Grant,
Smith,
okay.
second.
Okay, thank you. Motion's been made to approve the agenda. I'll call roll. Chris Chapman,
Yay.
Grant Smith,
Yay.
Ron Ferris,
Here.
yay, and Jennifer Ferguson.
Yay. Here.
Excellent. Okay. Next item on the agenda is, get my agenda together here. is the approval of the 2025 meeting dates. It looks like they'll both be on Thursdays, Thursday, March 13, 2025 at 9 a.m. in person at HLO, and Thursday, September 25, 2025 at 9 a.m. through MS Teams. And additional meetings may be scheduled as necessary. So if you can take a look at your calendars, or unless you already know, get a motion to approve the dates.
Yeah, this is Ron. The dates are fine, but the in-person, that MST is the same as in-person, correct?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so
Yeah.
we do have the capability, if you're unable to come in person to the meeting, great. MS Teams will work fine.
What were the dates again?
March 13 and September 25.
Yeah, this is Chris. I motion to accept those 2025 dates.
Those sound good to me.
Okay, so Dr. Schwant, was that a second to the motion?
Sure. I second.
Okay. I'll take roll. Chris Chapman,
Yay.
Grant Smith,
Yay.
Ron Ferris,
Yay.
Bruce Schwant,
Yay.
Jennifer Ferguson.
Yay.
All right, the board approves 2025 meeting dates and times. Next on the agenda, if everybody's ready to move on, and y'all can stop me anytime if you need to, would be chair, voting on the chairperson. So Todd's been the chair through 2024, and it looks like his membership is good. For another term if someone wanted to nominate him, but that's up to you all. If someone wants to be chair, you can nominate yourself or nominate somebody else. I'll leave it up to the board.
This is Ron. I have no problem nominating Todd. He's pretty eloquent with the language and all. It's just, so I'm okay with that.
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a first and a second for Todd to be the chair, and I'll call roll. Chris Chapman,
Yay.
Grant Smith,
Yay.
Ron Ferris,
Yay.
Bruce Schwant,
Yay.
Jennifer Ferguson.
Yay.
All right, motion carries. Todd is the chair. All right. Next item on the agenda is the director's report. And we'll start with board member resources, membership information. So Ron, your term expires 2026, excuse me, February 28, 2026, and you cannot reappoint. Chris Chapman's term expires September 25 of 2022. I think we have a typo. Anyway,
Mhm.
sorry.
No, I was just looking at the 22. That's the
Okay.
typo you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that, this is Grant Smith, I thought that he was serving on, though expired, because we didn't have enough people on the board.
And that
Yeah,
very
I
well
think
could
that was
be.
my
And I
understanding.
Okay. All right. So whenever we get you replaced, you can't serve.
You
Okay.
can't replace Chris, that's the problem.
I know.
You're too
I've been here
kind, too
12
kind.
years. I've been here 12 years. I think he's been on the board ever since.
I think so. No problem.
Okay, thank you very much. Todd, he's in his first term and his expires March 14 of 2024, and he probably reappointed. I will get with Derek and Todd and figure out where we are with that, with his reappointment. And Grant, you're in your second term, 2025, excuse me, September 22, 2025, and cannot reappoint. Bruce Schwant, first term, and that expires October 4, 2026, and Bruce can reappoint. Jennifer Ferguson, first term, and that expires February 15th, 2027, and Jennifer can reappoint. We still have a vacant public member. So if anybody knows anybody that's interested, have them get a hold of Derek Foltz, and his email address is on the top of the next page. Go ahead, Todd. Go ahead, Ron.
So is it the public members? Is that more of a 3-year appointment and everybody else is 2-year? Is that where the 27 shows up, or?
No,
or
just
she-
when they
she's
come
only
on
good.
board. I believe it's 4 years. And for when they come, and that expires, not everybody comes on at the same time and leaves at the same time.
Correct.
So that's why hers is probably that late. But let me look. Well, Jennifer, when did you come on board? Do you recall?
I came in 2023. That's why it's 2027.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Also in the board membership memo, there's some classes, and looks like these are hot links. If you look at this at the agenda, go through our website. So there's the overview of boards and commission. That training is required once per term. So if you haven't done it, they will email us and let us know. But if you know you haven't done it, you can pop onto that link and take that training. Information security training foundations, that's required annually. Preventing discrimination and harassment, that's required annually. And then the Oregon ethics law is optional. I went through part of it before we started having internet problems here last week or the week before, and it looked like it was turning out to be pretty good training. So if you have some spare time, I'd recommend taking that. Any questions on that?
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the licensing, fiscal, and statistical report. Licenses issued. So for those of you that are new to the board, the government runs on different cycles for years, fiscal years. Start July 1 of any particular year and in July 30 of the following year. So we're in quarter 1 of 2025. That's why we see 2025 on there. And we've issued 1 license this quarter. And the renewals, it's nice to see that we're probably at a 90, if not higher percent online renewal rate for how we're doing it, and that's great. And we've had 24 renewals in this first quarter of 2025. Licenses by age and gender. If you're following along, you can see that the vast majority of professionals in your profession are male, and we actually have a couple of folks, one in their somewhere between 82 and 89 maintaining a license, and then 11 between the age of 74 and 81 maintaining a license, but with a total of 114 licenses. On page 24, if you're following along online, the licensing trends. I know we don't have 111.5, so these are averages of licenses, not the whole round number. Sorry about that. Of denturists, and we have one, maybe two temporary licenses out there, and then we don't have any trainees. The next slide, page 25, is this board's financials, and we're running pretty good. We're running at a steady pace of revenue and expenditures and operations, net operating. So these numbers, although $249,000 may seem high, it wouldn't take but a good case to take a lot of that away from us, from the board. Okay, any questions on the director's report?
Ron,
Um,
none? Go ahead.
Ron?
None?
Okay, there was one thing that I wanted to bring up. Let me check the agenda real quick. Sure this is the time I can do that before Trampus jumps on. Okay. I don't have anything at this minute myself. Trampus, go ahead. You're muted, Trampus.
All that and wasted on a muted. Anyway, I'm Trampus Shuck. I'm the interim regulatory manager, and I'm here to talk about the regulatory report. The regulatory report is pretty I think we're pretty good shape. We've had we only have one biennium on this report, so in other words, we really don't have anything that's too old on the as far as that goes. So everything is just within this biennium. We've received 8 complaints, and we still have 7 open. So we're just currently working on those cases. Most of them, as you can see, are about services provided. 2 of them show an unlicensed denture tech still open. So that'll be interesting to see how those play out. And we're just working through them, and we'll see how they come. Go ahead, Ron.
Ron, on the far right there, the complaints by type, the anonymous and client, what constitutes other? You had mentioned
others.
No
Others.
license on, or
Right. Other can be just any third-party source, like who's not the actual client, but is could be a caregiver, could be another denturist saying, hey, there's somebody over here working without a license, or something like that. So other is that. It could also be just that if for some reason wasn't identified. It's kind of the catch-all if something didn't get identified as the client. Out of 7, 3 only being from the client seems a little.
Yeah.
Usually more come from clients with this group. So I'm going to have to actually check that number and see if there's just something, a few that didn't get categorized or something. But other can just be anything that, but other than the clients, or we know who they are, but they're not the client. So.
Well, I was just saying other would be, if it wasn't patient-client related, then it would fall maybe into an other category, but
That's right.
yeah.
And it's actually by the complainants. So it's not the type of complaint. As you can see, we have the type of complaints, they're all service provided. So that's the type of complaint. And that
Okay.
one on the far right is the complainants by type. So
Okay, thank you.
yeah, it's who filed the complaint necessarily. Yeah. So, and I can also tell you this. I also always like to give the little caveat about what is. you know this, I don't know if everybody on this board has heard me talk about this, but cases open and cases closed. Cases open means that they're either being investigated, or they're on my desk for review, or they're headed to the board for review. Close, or maybe the board has made a decision or something and there hasn't been a notice that's sent out. Once a notice is sent out or a determination by me or the board has been made to close it, that's when it clicks over to close. So of that 7, there could be, and I know there are a couple that are just up for review. So not by the board, but by me at this stage. So that's kind of gives you an idea what open and closed actually means versus, you know, it doesn't mean maybe what it intuitively would sound like. So are there any questions about this or the regulatory process in general or regulatory issues or anything that you want to talk about or have questions about?
No, just maybe some follow-up later on the other, because I'm thinking, you know, it could be an insurance company complaint on something. It's just interesting to find
Yeah.
out what we got to look out for.
Yeah. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's also like a caregiver or something, or maybe the wife is complaining for the husband, and sometimes it'll end up in other. So, you know, it can be that kind of situation too. So.
Yeah, because we've got things with we're looking into as far as I say sign language, but the communication. What's the word I'm looking for? But that the new ruling that if they want to have an interpreter, I think is the word I'm looking for, that if you're in a government contract or something like that, then you got to work with certain interpreters. I could see if that didn't run smooth, that could fall into a complaint category that might be other. I'm just
Yeah,
thinking.
I mean, and if we got that complaint, we have not, as far as I know, and I see them all, we have not gotten any complaints regarding that particular issue. If we did, then we'd have to really look at it and see if it was our jurisdiction or I think there's another jurisdiction that may deal partially with that as well, more directly. But we would have to decide if it was our jurisdiction to look into. It would be kind of it'd be a new type of complaint for sure that we would want to scrutinize pretty closely. And we would, that would be something we would definitely want the board to know that kind of new situation was coming up. So
Sure. No, that's great. I wasn't trying to point figures. I think I was just talking out loud, trying to discover the other category and just searching.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Ask whatever questions you have, throw them out. Happy to answer them.
I think that other jurisdiction Trampus is referring to as the healthcare interpreters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're also under the health authority, but not under our purview. And yeah, hopefully we don't have any of those complaints, but if we did, we'd certainly take a look.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I was trying to say. They're called others, so we're making sure those aren't others.
Yeah, once we get those, we may have to come up with a different way to track it, because there may be somewhere down the road some requirement for us to report out on it.
Was there was someone looking into the idea of using Google Translate?
I don't know. And I don't, in the statute that pulls all this together, I don't recall that being a part of it. So anecdotally, what the requirement is if you're receiving public funds and somebody requests an interpreter, the practitioner needed to provide the interpreter, unless the individual brought a family member that can interpret for them or brought their own interpreter.
Got it. Yeah, it seemed like that I brought this up last time about Google Translate. I don't remember what the response was. Still curious.
This is Ron. What I remember that was you were kind of requesting from the health division that if there was a point of contact number that maybe you could move forward and ask some questions on that. I think that's where that was left.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Grant Smith. Part of the process is that this comes through legislation and then goes through rules making. And
Yes.
once that's done, we really don't have the ability to sort of tweak and decide. To get into rulemaking or to get into legislature becomes much more complicated when the rules open up, and we just don't have the ability to second guess regulation as it comes our way.
Yeah, thanks. So what we'd have to do, or someone, not us specifically, but not as a board member or part of any organization, or you as a single person can, or an individual can contact your legislator and ask the question, and the statute itself would have to be amended.
I'm just curious, I haven't, maybe that was what I was wanting to follow up on. Does the statute itself specify a human being? Or does it just specify a translator?
I think it specified a translator from an approved pool of translators.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And that's on the healthcare interpreters website.
Got it.
And
Nathan?
it's possible those are available via like a translation line rather than an in-person translation. But that's something you'd have to look at because there's like phone, you call them up and then they over the phone translate. So it's like not necessarily you have to schedule one to come in the office. I'm sure that they have options for that kind of situation. But you'd have to look at
that's how we do it in dentistry too.
Healthcare.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, and we're required to do it as well. So we call up the number and turn the screen around so they can talk to each other or sign. And so Nathan.
I just wanted to comment too. There's some issues with privacy concerns using Google Translate. I mean, they offer it as a free service, and there's some worries about data collection and them using that for marketing stuff. So I'm not sure that would be on the list could get on the list of approved service. Just Google has had a problem with that in the past, so that may be a barrier.
This is Grant Smith. Again, this statute is about anybody who's receiving public funds, so Oregon Health Plan or other contractual services. That if your practice doesn't receive any public funding for the work that you do, then you could use Google Translate if you wanted, or you could use any service that you want. That's my understanding.
Right.
Good point.
Okay. Any other questions on the translation? Using translators? Next item is public and interested parties feedback. I don't see anybody else on there. I don't have the audience list up. Josh, is there anybody from the public?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Next item on the list is other board business. I have one thing, and it's a 50,000 foot level notification to y'all. The sponsors of a bill that was bringing in the the dental lab bill that has come to our attention again. And that's about all I can say about it, because that's all I know is that is being considered again. And in the past, we did work with the sponsors on it, and they were very amiable to work with us to make sure that this profession was exempt from that bill. So, go ahead, Ron.
Now, I've agreed from the beginning that that the dentist / denturist have been a teamwork in that category, as well as all insurance categories. If it's under the insurance statutes, reads that a denturist can do anything within their scope of practice and bill the insurance, as a dentist. And so if it just was a dentist can have a laboratory in their office / dentist insurance, I think that's all that's necessary. But the sponsors are pretty much aware of that, I think. So if
Yeah.
it comes back up, my input and all it has to be is dentist and insurance within their scope of practice are the same.
So,
And-
so yeah, they just made us aware of it, and we reviewed the last bill, and we pretty much gave them what we gave them during the last legislative session, and I haven't heard anything since. But as we move through this next legislative season, then we'll we'll keep the board apprised of it, and we'll call meetings if we need to in between times.
Okay, well, somehow last time it went to a vote and thank goodness it didn't go through, but the discussion never got to have that include the both professions being, equal within their scope of practice. It never got rediscussed because I remember being the chair at that time asking for some heads up, and the next thing I heard, it voted down. So thank you for bird dogging it and making sure that when the sponsors reapproach that we get it before the deadline.
Yeah, a lot of times we don't get made aware of things until they need something from us. And but in this case, they did reach out to us. We did have some long discussions, not discussions. Our government relations talked, and we provided responses to them, which, our concern was this board and the professionals to ensure that they were not included in it. And so we'll keep an eye out for it as it moves into an actual concept and we get a look at it.
And
But
I think that it's, try to explain it again, it's not really a three-ring circus in a way, but the health division represents us to protect the public. But the Dental Laboratory Association is in on this, sponsoring the way that they see it. And I think I'm pretty much favoring what their choices are. They want to have some self-esteem there. But then we have the Denturist Association, which should be the big player, not the quarterback necessarily, that should be going in these meetings and voicing what I, I'm not putting it on your guys' shoulders. I think that the rest of the members here that are on this board that are also involved in the Denturist Association, they should be aware of these things happening, and so
well,
it's up to us to do it, not just you guys, is what I'm saying.
yeah. Well, that's why I'm giving you this 50,000 foot view heads up of, what may be coming, so you can have your association keep an eye out for it.
Yeah.
Because we can only do what we can do, and if there's other leverage your association has, then that's their right to do. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on it.
Thank you.
Any other board business? Anything you need us to look into before we meet again next March?
Hey, this is Chris. No, I don't have any, but Ron, could you tell me what the name of that bill is, or that you're speaking about, the dental lab issue?
In last session, it was 4011.
Yeah.
So if you go to OLIS and go to the 2024 regular session and just type in 4011, it'll come right up.
What does OLUS stand for? OLUS? Is that OLUS?
Oregon Legislative Information Systems.
Oh, yes. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I
just
just
type
want to
in
make sure that we pass that along to our
yeah.
board,
If you go to your search bar and type in OLIS, it'll come up.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
All right.
Yeah, you can, and this is Ron, and you can call me personally too. I don't have that. I've got it in my stack of my where again pile. I don't throw anything away, so I got all my last meetings here that I keep that stuff also, and I can be glad to share with you my concerns with that. But,
Well, there's not even been a concept pushed forward yet, but you give you an idea on what they're looking at. 4011 is the bill number. Okay. Anything else for board business?
This is Ron. I don't think
None.
so.
Okay. Then I will read us out if you're okay with that, Ron.
Oh, yeah, more than welcome. Thank you.
Okay. The Board of Denture Technology meeting is adjourned at 9:40 a.m. Thank you, everybody. Sorry it was such a short meeting.
No, it's all
Thank you for your
good.
time.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Be well.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.